Please subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon to get the regular updates of my channel, and do not forget to like, comment and share. Hello everyone, welcome to SaaS with ServiceNow. ServiceNow has been marketing themselves as low-code platform. And in one of the recent release, they came up with Flow Designer feature, which has totally changed the way of development in ServiceNow for developers and process owners. So today, I'm presenting you new training, that is ServiceNow Flow Designer training. In this training, you will learn what is Flow Designer and how you can utilize Flow Designer to fulfill the requirements of your customers and clients effectively. So starting with overview of Flow Designer. In this section, you will learn about high-level details of Flow Designer, its components, and architecture. What is Flow Designer? Flow Designer is a feature in ServiceNow which is used to automate processes in a single environment. You can use natural language to automate different actions like approvals, tasks, email notifications, and table operations such as update of records or create of records. Flow Designer also comes with the capability of integrating ServiceNow with third-party applications with less coding, which is performed via Integration Hub, which is another feature of ServiceNow integrated with Flow Designer. This is Flow Designer landing page, which shows all different components. You can create or manage Flow Designer on this particular page. Benefits of Flow Designer. There are a lot of benefits of Flow Designer, and we will see few of them. First one is whatever automation you will perform, it will be done in a single platform. Another benefit is even the users with non-technical knowledge can work on Flow Designer as it is based on natural language logic. You can create different actions in Flow Designer which can be reused in different automations. Flow Designer also reduces probability of syntax error, which you normally get while doing coding in ServiceNow. Flow Designer also reduces the cost of upgrade and maintenance as it leads to minimum customization. One of the best features of Flow Designer is Integration Hub, which enables easy integration capability with third-party applications like Microsoft, Slack, and Jira system, etc., and many more integrations. Flow Designer components. Let's see what different components we have in a Flow Designer. Starting with flows. That's the first component of Flow Designer. Next is subflows, actions, core actions, action steps, and the last one is spokes. You have multiple spokes in Flow Designer. Starting with flows. Flows are similar to workflows in ServiceNow. A flow is an automated process which has sequence of actions and a trigger. It automates business logic for a particular application or process. For example, you want to assign a P1 incident to one specific group automatically. That you can achieve with the help of flow. Now, if you want to work on flows in Flow Designer, then you should have basic knowledge of ServiceNow platform tables and fields for an application or process. So let's say you're working for incident application. So you should be aware of all the fields, what all fields are needed or what all fields we have on incident table. so that you can create flow for that particular table. Now the list which you are seeing on the screen, this is showing you all out of the box flows. However, you can create new flows or copy existing flows as well and add different configurations in that particular flow. Subflows. A subflow is an automated process which has sequence of actions. However, it takes data inputs that allow the process to be started from a flow, a subflow or a script. That means you create subflows, but you have to trigger it by taking some input, maybe from flow, maybe from another subflow or a script. Subflows automate generic business logic which can be applied to multiple applications or processes. As an example, if you want to send emails to users related to the record on which flow is being triggered, then you can create a subflow. And you can use that subflow into different flows as well, depending on the kind of requirement you have. So you can see the list of subflows. These are all out of the box subflows in ServiceNow platform. Actions. Action is a reusable operation that enables users to automate different features in ServiceNow platform without writing a code. For example, there is an out-of-the-box create record action which allow users with write access to generate records in a particular table with particular values when condition is matched. You can see a list of out-of-the-box actions of the instance, that is in my personal developer instance, but you can also create new actions as well as per your requirement. So ServiceNow also gives you capability or option to create your own custom actions. Core actions. Core actions in Flow Designer are out-of-the-box actions available in a flow. And these flows cannot be viewed or edited from Action Designer. For example, ask for approval action, which is a core action that allows users to use platform approvals. You can also activate application-specific core actions by enabling spokes of those applications. Action steps. An action step is a single reusable operation within an action. For example, the create record action allows users to specify the table and field values which is used when record is created. Spokes. ServiceNow Flow Designer has added a lot of automation related to different applications. A spoke is a scoped application containing Flow Designer content which is dedicated to a particular application or type of record. For example, the ITSM spoke contains actions for managing task records such as create task action. Now, spokes are activated with their parent application. However, ServiceNow already provides some out-of-the-box spokes. Like you can see on the screen, like ServiceNow Core. Then we have for Connect application. We also have for Global. We have some ITSM as well. So we have ITSM spoke. Then we have Password Reset. And then we have few other applications as well, like VTB, that is Visual Task Board. So depend on the kind of license you have. However, you will still get few spokes with your existing application, which will not require any kind of license. Architecture overview of Flow Designer. So how flow is triggered in ServiceNow? When flow is created, then it should be triggered as well to perform some action. So flow consists of triggers and different actions. This trigger can be record based or scheduled based. Record-based trigger is triggered when selected record in a flow is created, updated, or deleted. Schedule-based trigger is triggered at a specific date and time as per the type of scheduled configured. Let's understand how flow gets processed. So sequence starts from triggering of flow. When condition mentioned in flow gets occurred, then an event record is added in the event queue to start the flow. The scheduler of ServiceNow processes the event and starts the flow. Then system then build a process plan as per the steps and actions mentioned in the flow. So system automatically checks that what kind of plan we have available as per the actions and steps you mentioned in the flow. And then system runs the process plan using the record associated with that particular flow. And once flow is triggered and flow started running, then system stores the information about the flow execution, which is also used for troubleshooting. So once flow is triggered and once flow has started executing, in that phase, if you really want to troubleshoot, let's say you're not able to get the expected results as part of the flow, then you can also troubleshoot with the help of all these tracking which we are doing as part of the execution. We are tracking all the logs as part of the execution. Flow has different states which shows the progress status of the flow. And the first state is waiting. When flow waits for any event to occur, so the state will be waiting. Next is in progress. That means flow is running. Then we have error, in which one of the action got failed and gave error. Then we have cancelled state, when flow is cancelled and will not be triggered or run again. And user with write access can cancel a flow as well. And the last state is completed. So when flow is totally performed, that means it has performed all the actions which are mentioned in that particular flow, and the whole flow got completed without any error. Then the state will become completed. Flow status. Flow also shows status which is state of publishing. That means it will show you some state which shows that whether a particular flow is published or not. So there are three status of a flow. Draft, when new flow is created or existing flow is updated and saved without publishing. So that will be called as draft status. Then we have published, when flow is ready and can be made available to be used. That will be the final stage, the final status of a flow, and that is published. And the next is modified, when flow is updated without saving. That means you create a flow, you publish it, and then you perform some changes in that flow. In that case, it becomes modified. Flow activation. Flows can also be activated or deactivated. So you will see a button activate or deactivate on the flow once created or updated. So you can make a flow active, you can make it inactive as well by using this activate and deactivate buttons in Flow Designer. Flow action limitation. There is some limitation in Flow Designer regarding number of actions which can be created in a flow. By default, you can create 50 actions in a flow in Flow Designer, which can be changed by updating number in a property, that is sn_flow_designer.max_actions. However, large number of actions can impact the performance of the system. So max to max, I would always recommend to use 50 to 60 actions in a flow designer in a particular flow. And if you really want to create more actions, I would recommend to break your flow, or maybe you create subflows. Flow testing. Flow has a feature in which you can test a flow for a specific record. You will see a test button on a flow which can be used when you want to perform testing for the flow you will be creating. ServiceNow has an application, Flow Designer, which is used to manage and configure flow and automation in ServiceNow. Let's see Flow Designer application and modules in my personal developer instance. This is my personal developer instance. Now till Orlando version, you will find Flow Designer as a separate application. However, from Paris version, ServiceNow has introduced Process Automation Designer, which is a simpler version of Flow Designer. And they have added Flow Designer in Process Automation application. So if I type Process Automation, you can access the same application. Now under this application, you will find Flow Designer. And the first module we have under this application is Getting Started, which will take you to the ServiceNow documentation. And then we have next module, that is Flow Designer. Now this module, if you will click on this module, this will open up the landing page of Flow Designer functionality. So you can see this is the landing page of Flow Designer, in which you can see flows, you can see subflows, actions, executions, connections, and help as well, which shows different types of links to get more information like documentation, some videos, and community discussions. Now if I go to application again, now under this application, after Flow Designer, you have another section of module, that is Flow Administration, which has different modules to administer flows. Like you can see, we have some logs, like some executions as well. That's what you can find under this section of modules. So the first module under this section we have is today's execution. Now when flow instance is triggered, then it creates a record in the system. And in today's execution, you can see all executions of flows are running on the current date. So whatever flows which were triggered today, that you can see all those records in this particular list. Then we have active flows, which shows the list of executions waiting for some action, where state is waiting. Then you have content definitions. So you have list of contents. That means we have a lot of contents in Flow Designer. So you can configure those contents and their configurations in this particular view. That means in the list, whatever contents you have, like you have actions, you have different steps, you have flows, you have flows category, those configurations you can manage in this particular list. Next is inbound email flows, which shows the list of triggers which are associated with inbound email. Those triggers you can see in this particular list. The next is content filtering rules, which shows the rules defined to provide access to different contents of Flow Designer, like actions, steps, or subflows. Then we have event queue. Now here it shows the status of the queue. So, and this is not related to Flow Designer. This is your platform events. That is what it is showing. So whatever events which are basically generated from flow, you can see the status of those events, that how exactly it is progressing, or what is the status of those events which are generated by Flow Designer. Then we have operations dashboard, which shows the execution status of different flows in the platform on the basis of some metrics, like how many flows got created today, and how much time they took to run. All those information you can see in this particular dashboard. Like you can see it for today, you can also see it for previous 30 days, that how many flows got created, how many flows got triggered, and you can see the status as well, and some like runtime trends as well. So all these different kind of metrics you can see in this operations dashboard. Then we have settings, in which you can configure, basically enable or disable reporting of execution of flows. Because as you can see, we have operations dashboard, which is basically showing you the report that yes, these are the flows which are maybe getting executed. This is what the status we have. Now, if you want to control that enable and disable of the reporting for a particular flow or a subflow or an action, that you can control it by this settings option, and you can create those records accordingly. Then we have complex objects templates, in which you can create templates for creating complex objects in flows. That's another feature. We will talk about that feature later in this training. And last one is properties, in which you have some configurations of flow designer. Like I said earlier about the maximum number of actions which are allowed on a flow. Here you can see the number which you can change. However, if you will increase the number, maybe you will make it 90 or 100, it might impact the performance of the system, of the platform. So it's better to have limited number, and I think 50 is the right value. I think you can make it maybe max 60, not more than that. Otherwise, this will definitely impact the performance. Let's create a flow. So I will go to Flow Designer landing page. So I will come to flows. Now, in order to create a flow, you have to click on this new button. But before that, as you can see, we have these list of flows available as well. These are all out of the box flows, which are created for different type of functionalities. But as I mentioned, in order to create a flow, you just need to click on this new button, which will give you 3 more options, whether you want to create a flow, you want to create a subflow, or you want to create an action. So in that case, I just want to create a flow right now. So I will click on flow. Now this will give me a pop-up. This is screen where I have to provide basic details of the flow I'm going to create. So maybe I can put over here like a test flow. And then here you can select the scope. Now it's totally up to you what kind of scope you want to keep. So I'm keeping it as global right now. Then we have description. Here you can provide more details about the flow, why you want to create it, what kind of features we have in this particular flow, what kind of what kind of functionality I can achieve with this flow, that you can mention in this description. Now next field we have is run as. This is definitely an important field, because this definitely decides when flow will be triggered, with what user it will be triggered. So you want to run it as a user who will initiate that session, or you can also change that value to the system user. So that means once flow will be triggered, it will basically treat it as a system user. That means it will run as a system user. Now, if I will select user who initiates session, so ServiceNow gives you another feature, that is run with roles. So let's say you want to run a specific flow by using any kind of maybe specific role. That means because whatever action you are using in that particular flow, or whatever action you want to take, in order to take that action, that particular role is needed. So in that case, you can specify that role as well. You just need to click here and click on pick a role. Now this will give you the list. You can search here. Let's say we can mention ITIL. So when I can mention, so even if the session will be initiated by a non-ITIL person, system will still run run the flow with this particular role. That means this role, whatever actions will be taken as part of the flow will be considered as part of the ITIL access, not the user who is actually initiating that particular session. So I will just remove it for now. So once you are done with this by providing all the information, important information like name, application, and then run as, then I can click on submit. Once you will click on submit, it will create the flow successfully. It will show you the message as well. You can see a different screen now. That means this shows you different other components. And here we have trigger. Here we have actions which you can create. You can see the status as well. You can see the name which you have provided while creating the flow. Then you have scope as well. And here we have properties. Now this is the same pop-up. So if I will click on properties, you can see the same page, that is the flow properties, where we have basic details of flow. I would say not just basic, because here is the important information, that is run as well. So I will just cancel this. Then we have some other buttons which you can see here, like test executions. They are graded out right now because they will be enabled once I will create the flow and save it. So let's say let's say if we are creating an incident, and if category is network, then that incident should be assigned to network team. So in that case, what I will do, I will click on this, or maybe I will make this screen a little bit small so that I can see all the components of this flow. Here I will click on trigger and I will select the trigger. Now this time the trigger will be created. So whenever new incident will be created. Now here it is asking me for an input, and that input is table. So I can mention incident. So I will select incident. So whenever incident will be created, I can still mention any kind of condition, and that condition is that category should be network. So in that case, I can mention category is network. If I will select category is network, I can click on done, and I will click on actions. Here I have action, I have flow logic, I have subflow. Now you can see, because I added something, I have added trigger, it has populated this save. That means now I can see this save button. I can save this flow now. Initially it was not, this was totally gridded out, this was not enabled, but now this button is enabled, and I can click on this button to save this flow further. So I can click on action, and what I need to do, I just need to update the record. So I can go to one of the action, which is update record. Once you will do that, you can, this is the data pill. Now if I will select here, I can select the record which was created. So I can select the incident record. It will automatically populate the table, and then I need to mention assignment group. That's what I need to update. So I can select assignment group, and here I can put maybe let's select network cap managers, and that's it. And if I save this, now you can see that other buttons are also enabled. Now save is gone. The reason behind it, because we have saved it. So why this button will be enabled unless I will do some changes. If I will add something, I will change something, then save button will again be enabled. So now you can see we also have test. So test is definitely another feature, that if I have any record and I want to test this flow, I can do that. I also have executions. Once this will be triggered, this flow will be triggered, will start executing. I can see the executions as well, that where exactly or how exactly it is executed. Then we have activate. Now this is very important button, because until and unless you will not click on this button, this flow will not be triggered automatically. So in order to trigger it automatically, you have to click on this activate button. So we will click on activate. I will click on OK. Now once you will activate this button, you'll also see that this activate button will be disabled, and new button, that deactivate button, will be enabled, because I can deactivate the flow as well. So this time it is activated. Now what I will do in order to test this flow, whether it is executed or not, I will go to my instance. I will type incident, I will create a new incident. So I clicked on create new. I will select the caller. So maybe I will select this one, and I can select the category as network, and I can put here test for FD, that is Flow Designer, and I will just save it. That's it. I will save this. Once it is saved, Flow Designer, that means this flow should be triggered. So in order to check that, I can click on executions, and you can see the flow has triggered because condition was matching, because incident got created. So in that case, if I will click this button and this record, I can see this flow getting executed. So it says waiting for flow execution data. That's fine. I think it is still gathering. It says complete. That means it was executed successfully, and you can see the execution details now. You can create a flow as well. You can create context record. Now this is the same context record which gets created in the backend in order to show you all the status. Now here we have triggered, which got completed, that yes, it was matched. Now if I will click on this eye icon, you will see that for what record this particular trigger was generated. So you can see this is for 10001, and if you can see it is the same record. If I will come over here and I will close this and I will come here, you can see assignment group is updated network cab manager, because this was updated by Flow Designer. I didn't have to write any code. I didn't have to write any business rule. With just Flow Designer, I was able to achieve this functionality. However, this is just a basic functionality. You will definitely learn more things about Flow Designer, that you can achieve a lot of complex things as well, which you normally write in a script with Flow Designer. So I will go here. Now here you can see it says update record, and it also says completed. That means it found the record and it was able to update the same record. If I will expand it, so I can expand it, like if you will click on this particular link, that particular action or step will be expanded automatically. So here you can see it says this particular value, and then it shows all the condition, trigger output, what exactly the output I'm getting. That's a record ID. This is the ID. And if I'm going a little bit bottom, you can see it is updating the record, because I already mentioned that this should update network cab managers as assignment group, and it has done that. That's the reason. So this action was taken without any issue, and that's the reason it says completed. That means this flow was executed successfully for that particular record. So this is how you create a flow in Flow Designer in ServiceNow. And as I mentioned, this is not the limitation. ServiceNow Flow Designer is definitely really, I think it has really great powers which can fulfill a lot of requirements which you get from your customers and clients. And that is also complex requirement for which you normally do development, you normally do coding in ServiceNow, and that's something you can achieve with just Flow Designer. Now, before I end this particular session, I just want to highlight one important point of Flow Designer, that it has been observed that Flow Designer is pretty much slow. If I talk about execution point of view, and if I compare maybe workflow, if I compare with business rules, then Flow Designer is definitely slow. So if you will write a business rule, and if you will write a Flow Designer with similar type of action, that means updating assignment group after creation, which you can also achieve with Flow, business rule. In that case, Flow Designer will update that record little bit later than what you can achieve with business rule. So business rule will definitely be, I would say, much faster than Flow Designer. I can say that's kind of a loophole, but I cannot say that it is stopping your work, because wherever you need any kind of async update, where you don't need to have those actions right away, I think Flow Designer, to perform those automation, Flow Designer will be definitely powerful, because it is definitely a great thing that you are able to achieve something without writing a code. That's a really great feature in ServiceNow. And as I mentioned, ServiceNow is definitely focusing on low code development in ServiceNow. Moreover, they have introduced a new feature in Paris, that is Process Automation Designer. And I will definitely publish a session, a separate training for Process Automation Designer as well. Maybe I will continue Process Automation Designer as part of this Flow Designer sessions. But please do watch my further videos, which you will get soon. I will be posting those videos as well, but my target was to upload first video on Flow Designer so that I can begin this training and show you the powerful feature of Flow Designer in ServiceNow. So thanks for watching this video, and have a great day, and keep learning ServiceNow.